I'd like to call the regular city council meeting to order at now 6:02 p.m. January 8th. Roll call.
Councilwoman Leonard,
Yes, present.
Councilman Martinez, Councilman Gary Werner,
Here.
Vice Mayor Langowski.
Here.
Mayor O'Connor is running late. He'll be here shortly.
I would like to have everybody stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Are there any additions, deletions, or modifications to the agenda? If none, may I have a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
I'll move approval of the agenda as presented.
I second.
We have a motion by Councilman Werner, seconded by Councilwoman Leonard. Roll call, Councilwoman Leonard.
Yes.
Councilman Werner,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Langowski.
Yes.
Mayor O'Connor. Not here yet. Motion carries 3-0. Thank you.
We're at the section for public comments and requests. This section of the agenda allows for comments from the public to speak. Each speaker will be given a total of 3 minutes to comment. A public comment card should be completed and returned to the city clerk. When you are called to speak, please go to the podium and prior to addressing the council, state your name and address for the record.
Vice Mayor, we received no comment cards.
Okay. We're going to move on to the consent agenda. The section of the agenda consists of a routine administrative items that require final approval by the city council and may be approved in its entirety by a single motion. There will be no discussion of these items unless a council member requests such. In the event, the item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered on a future agenda.
Consent agenda items A and B.
I second.
We have a motion by Councilman Werner, seconded by Councilwoman Leonard. Roll call, Councilman Werner,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Langowski,
Yes.
Councilwoman Leonard.
Yes.
Motion carries 3-0.
Madam Clerk, just a quick question for the presentations. Can we wait for the mayor to do that?
City Attorney?
If you want a motion to defer the item to the mayor
I
arrives, you
think he
can.
might want to do that, so I wasn't sure.
I'll move that we postpone the discussion on the proclamation until the mayor arrives.
We have a motion by Councilman Werner, seconded by Councilwoman Leonard. Roll call, Councilman Werner,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Langowski,
Yes.
Councilwoman Leonard.
Yes.
Motion carries 3-0.
The next section is public hearing on quasi judicial.
All those individuals who are going to testify for the application of MPA 2023-03 regarding approval of master plan amendment for 20.321 acres commercial plaza downtown mixed-use zoning district, please stand and be sworn. You solemnly swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth? Please proceed.
Order. Yeah. That's the record sheet.
Please let the record reflect that the mayor has arrived at 6:05 p.m.
We have before us planning and zoning application MPA 2023-03, requesting approval, master plan amendment, downtown mixed use zoning district. City attorney, please read by title only.
Sir, this is quasi judicial. We've introduced it. We've sworn the witnesses. The city is prepared to make its presentation.
Good evening, council. Happy New Year. I'll state for the record, Osnia Leon, planner for the city of Westlake. For you is Master Plan Amendment 2023-03 is the Publix Westlake Plaza Master Plan Amendment. The applicant is requesting approval of a master plan amendment for approximately 20 acres of commercial plaza at downtown mixed-use zoning district, fronting Seminole Pratt Whitney Road. This development was originally approved on November 9th, 2020. The city council approved the original master plan of Podgy South, known as Publix Westlake Plaza, through resolution 2020-03. On November 9th, 2020 as well, the city council approved a concurrent site plan application for the Publix grocery store phase 1 located in parcel E. Phase 1 is now constructed, containing approximately 4,800 square feet of Publix grocery store with a drive-through pharmacy and a 1,400 square foot liquor store included, and attached 9,600 square feet of inline retail, office, medical building. The previous master plan included five parcels. The parcel A, approximately 1 acre, 4,000 square feet of fast food with drive-through. Parcel B, 5,500 square feet of bank. Parcel C, sit-down restaurant of 5,750 square feet, and parcel D, 6,363 square feet. And as I mentioned, parcel E of the phase 1 has been completed for the Publix with the drive-through pharmacy. The proposed amendment is rearranging some of the uses for the parcels, as well as the introduction of parcel C's development. Parcel A is now 5,750 square feet of retail, potentially tire store. Parcel B is 4,000 square feet of fast food with drive-through. Parcel C is 5,500 square foot of bank with drive-through. Parcel D, which becomes the phase 2 of the development, will contain 25,000 square feet of physical fitness, massage therapy spa, 6,000 square feet of inline retail, office, medical building, on also 3,024 square foot of fast food with drive-through. And as I mentioned, parcel E is already completed, shown there. Again, concurrently, applicants only submitted 2 site plans for the whole development, phase 1 and phase 2. Additional phases will be determined by market demand, and respective site plans will be submitted for city council approval. Shown on the screen are the existing access ways to the plaza from Town Center Parkway and Persimmon Boulevard. Phase 2 of the development, shown on parcel D, contains a landscape buffer on the Town Center Parkway, along with the western boundary of the entire site, including a 6-foot buffer concrete slip wall that will be completed as part of the phase 2 development. The subject site is landscaped in accordance with Article 7. Drainage for each parcel is not presented at this time. Applicant is required to comply with drainage requirements at the time of each parcel's development, as well as traffic projected for the application do not exceed the approved trips for the Westlake per the development order. Staff recommends approval of the application with 2 conditions of approval. Maintain the vacant parcels to keep a visual appearance for A, B, and C, which are haven't been developed. The subject parcels will be stabilized, seeded, mulched, regular mowed, and receive temporary watering by way of traditional water trucks. And number 2, applicant shall revise the land development permit for Publix or submit a new land development permit for phase 2. And the applicant has agreed to this condition. That concludes my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have a presentation from the applicant?
Do. Good evening, council members. For the record, Donaldson here tonight on behalf of the Publix entity that owns the shopping center. As you're aware, this was developed through a developer, but is owned and operated by public supermarkets and their related real estate entities. I do have our project engineer here from Simmons and White. Eric is here, so if you have a good technical, hard civil engineering question, he probably needs to answer it for us. But exciting. So, Mr. Mayor, I'm glad you made it here. I don't know how many times you've asked me, when are we going to see Planet Fitness in the next phase of development? So we are here to look at that area. The public center is highlighted on the screen. And of course, as you see today, the James Business Park, which is located immediately to the west now, is coming out of the ground. And I think their leasing is going well. Really, really exciting time for the city of Westlake. So the phase 2 development area, the buildings are located in the area which is highlighted there in the yellow square. And this is that area located right on the front part of what we call basically parcel G South. Parcel G North is straddled in between Town Center Parkway, and you can see it's graded and looking pretty. So we hope hopefully in the near future to have something coming forward on those parcels. But quickly, just to reiterate what we're doing on the master plan level, a couple little modifications of just really flipping some of the parcels. First, we're adding the fitness. So fitness use is defined generally by the traffic engineers different than traditional retail. And so it has slightly different trip generation. And so that's why we look at it specifically as its own isolated use. And the same with the restaurant. So in the downtown mixed use, in this particular case, we're adding a restaurant with a drive-through. It'll likely be a fast casual type of a theme with this type of a drive-through. It's not multiple drive-throughs, but that also is looked at as a different use than straight retail or straight mixed use. You'll have restaurants in mixed use, but if you have the drive-through, that's a separate use. And then we're modifying the previously approved financial institution that was located in the middle. That's moving to out parcel number C. And then we're relocating the previously approved fast food that was on the hard corner, Town Center Parkway. That's going to end up moving to parcel B. And then parcel A will end up being a retail outlet. We're told, we don't know that they have a tire store that's interested in that particular parcel. So those are the changes that we went through on the master plan. And then just graphically, you can see how we're flipping those uses from one parcel to the next. In general, they are the same. On out parcel number C, which will be a bank, an application has been filed, Mr. Mayor. That is bank, and that application is now under review, and we hope to be bringing that back before you here in the coming months.
Fifth Third, you said? Fifth
Third Bank. And then the fitness, which is 25,000 square feet, and then the remaining inline. It's in line because it's in the same line as the Publix and at Fitness. Total 9,024 square feet, 6,000, which will be mixed use, retail, office, medical, could be some restaurant. And then the southern end of that 3,024 square feet will end up being the restaurant with the drive-through. Again, very likely a fast casual. Right now it's programmed for 3,000 square feet. It could end up being a little bit less. It won't be any more up than that. You can see the site plan's got lots of open space and green space, so it really has the opportunity to be a great plan. On this slide, you can see the total tabulation. We're actually proposing at this point significantly less than what's approved for this phase. So there's about 21,000 square feet that will remain unassigned. Don't know if it will be built in the future or if it will ever be built, but it's there, and there's some opportunity as time goes on if they want to relook at other opportunities on the site. And again, of course, we have to make sure that we talk about two things with the mayor. One is golf cart parking, and so we are adding golf cart parking along the main walkway spine, the pedestrian spine, and we're adding parking that's equivalent to what would have been required for both phases. So we're not going into phase 1 and modifying, but we're adding it in a convenient phase area that will serve both phases. And we're also adding level 2 golf cart charging stations.
Electric cart.
4 positions, and they're showing an area that's convenient there on the north side of Planet Fitness. So super excited. The
plan, you can see lots of open space, a lot of plaza areas, all done out of pavers, all done very well in keeping with what we tried to establish with the first phase. Architecturally, the buildings will be pretty much a continuation of the theme that's been established. I think that they've done well. Some nice architectural metal awnings and stucco and the glazing. Both of the two end caps are also very nice. On the north end cap, we have an area for outdoor seating. So we would anticipate maybe a small mom and pop type of a restaurant with a little covered awning out there that would be nice. And it's on the north end. So you'd see some activity as you're driving down Town Center Parkway, which would be very nice. In the south end of the end cap is the drive-through area that we talked about. Planet Fitness, it's a larger box, but in the same design theme as Publix, as well as what we looked at in the inline. Same color palette, same materials, same use of the metal awnings, and a nice scale. And of course, if you've had the opportunity to look at our landscape plan, like in all the areas, we really try to make sure that everybody does an excellent job and it stands to the level of landscape excellence that we've begun to expect here in the city of Westlake. So that's pretty much our presentation. I will point out that a question came up relative to the downspouts for any of the drains that might come down the side of the building. And we're in agreement that if there are any downspouts that are utilized, that where they're attached to the building, they would match the same color of the building so that they would appear to be seamless. So happy to add that as a condition of approval for the staff. But great project, and I know they're excited to come in and keep moving and get new stores opening. It's a fun time in the city of Westlake. Happy to answer any questions that you have.
Just a couple from me. Well, one's a statement. I was disappointed to see the high turnover sit-down restaurant disappear. I think that's what was removed. It wasn't parcel A, and now that's becoming a tire store.
It's not getting removed, it's just moving.
That's what you're saying is going to be fast casual.
Oh, no, the fast casual, let me just go back here real quick. Yeah, let me go back here. So just real quick. So
Sure.
the fast casual is the one that is located, it's highlighted in kind of a light brown on the screen.
Behind Planet Fitness, correct?
Right,
That's
right,
what I-
right. Just on the
okay.
north side of Planet Fitness. But then the fast food is in parcel B instead of parcel A. So all we did was move it.
So, right, but when in the original, it was labeled high turnover sit-down restaurant,
At this point,
and now it's becoming fast food.
no, it was, there's always a fast food. So basically you could pretty much say that the retail is becoming what was previously thought as
So
being,
where will the high turnover sit-down restaurant go?
there's opportunities for it to go inline or, again, it's all market driven.
I see.
It's all market
So I'm
driven.
correct in my statement that as of now, it is going away.
Yes, not a drive-through restaurant, the high turnover.
High turnover
Yes,
sit-down
sir.
restaurant
Yes,
is
sir.
going away. So
Yes, sir. For now.
I reaffirm my statement that I was disappointed to see.
Okay, yes, sir.
Second question is, once approved, because I know everybody's gonna ask, how much time do you think it's gonna take to build this Planet Fitness realistically?
I think that you'll see Planet Fitness go very, very fast. They'll come in and do the site work. So the majority of all the backbone site work we put in early on. So the main roads running through, the buffers, the main drainage connections. So all the irrigation is set up. So it will go pretty quickly. I think that you'll see them start construction sometime first quarter of the year and certainly be done probably fourth quarter at the latest.
Same year. Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, it'll go pretty quickly. With the original Publix, there was a lot of site work that had to be done. All that's now done and in place.
Any of my colleagues on the council have questions for Mr. Hearing?
I-
Mr. Werner?
Well, go ahead.
I'll recognize Mr. Werner first.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Hearing, for the presentation. First, I'd like to reiterate the mayor's comment about the disappointment on
Yes, sir.
high occupancy turnover restaurant. I just want to see, I do not want to see an overabundance of fast food drive-throughs. But I think you have a great plan here. I have a question. The fast food that you're showing on parcel D is on the southerly part of the inline stores.
Yes, sir.
On the northerly side of the inline stores, I believe you're showing an outside seating area, and you, in your presentation, you mentioned a mom and pop.
We have set it up to be a sit-down type of a restaurant with some outdoor seating. So it could be anything, that's out there today, a smaller restaurant. So less than 3,000 square feet. Could it be anything from the Lenoras to, all the different genres that are out there. We know that there is a demand, and it probably will lease up pretty quickly.
Okay, I hope that is the case. And then when you get to parcel B, the fast food again, I'd just like to encourage any opportunity to get a high occupancy sit-down restaurant rather than another drive-through or another fast food.
Right, and I think you have a good opportunity for that to occur. While we don't know where market is, now that it's not on, the fast food is not on the hard corner, the center parcel in many ways sets itself up to be quite suitable for a sit-down restaurant as opposed to something with the drive-through. So market forces will drive that, and I'll make sure that everyone knows that that's something that we want. And of course, I know your city managers out there pounding the pavement and the mayor trying to find great restaurants to move to this area. So it's just a matter of time.
Okay, then one last question, comment. You've switched the location of the fast food from A to B.
Yes, sir.
Does that suggest that you are speaking with someone or you have good reason to believe that that's a better location?
No, I understand from our clients that Publix does have a retail tire store user that is interested in parcel A. So we modified the master plan.
And that was their preference.
I'm not aware of anything on parcel B, just parcel C, which is now in and a part of the record will be coming in. Hopefully you'll see that probably in March, I would guess.
Okay, thank you. Nice project.
Councilwoman Lenny?
Yes. So is it true that Publix, being the owners of those properties or that land parcel, that they are the ones that are contracting with restaurants or the different businesses? So it is not the city that is contracting with.
That is correct.
Finding, I
So
just want to make sure we're clear.
Publix leases those out. I believe they do it in two forms. Typically with the inline, you would generally see that as a traditional lease for space. And then often with the out parcels, my understanding are land leases where Publix maintains the fee. And the Planet Fitness is also a land lease. Planet Fitness will build their own building to public standards.
Awesome. That was a great answer. Second question, massage and spa that was mentioned earlier.
That's just the technical definition that is in your code. So when we're preparing these things, instead of just saying fitness use, from a planning standpoint, and I know Councilman Werner would know that, we try to use the actual definition as it's stated in your code. And that's how that is. So it's a long rambling thing, but I'm not aware of, it's going to be a traditional Planet Fitness. They'll have all the great things that they do, but
No massage parlors.
I don't think so.
Okay. All right. Thank
Just
you.
definition. Yes, ma'am.
Please go ahead, Mr.
Okay, sorry. The thing shown on parcel D, is that going to be exclusively for the fitness and the inline shops?
It's all cross parking. So everything is cross parked. Publix, of course, is, very conservative. They always exceed the standards of the minimum parking, so that that's their requirements. But it's all open cross parking, no assigned parking other than the low speed electrical vehicles, which are the golf cart parking spaces, and the charging stations, the 4 spots that we have for that.
So parcels A, B, and C will not have parking on their own site?
They will.
Okay.
They will have parking on their own site. They will be self-parked
So,
per public standards.
and I presume those will be exclusively for those uses?
Technically, you could assume that, but it's under the covenants and the real estate agreement is generally all open parking.
Okay, which then gets me to the last question, and I wasn't here obviously for the plotting of the properties, but are there joint driveway easements as well as parking?
100% of the property is owned by Publix. And so all there are land leases into the various out parcels and tenants. So there's cross parking everywhere. Publix is very detailed in their real estate agreements in terms of cross access and ensuring that access is maintained.
If there were to be some change in the future on the part of Publix to sell off one of those parcels, would that then initiate another review of the city?
It would not. The parcels would be subdivided by, well, actually, they already are, by meets and bounds.
Right,
It
legal
would
lot.
facilitate another review. But all of the cross-access agreements are required to be in place, and I believe that your city attorney reviews those documents.
Thank
And
you.
if not, we're happy to provide them to him.
Got it.
I have one quick question, and it's a little bit off topic, but in terms of the low-speed electric vehicle parking, and this might be one that Onset can answer. I know our code calls for it, and I know the sign. I just think it's silly that it says LSEV parking, because nobody knows what that means.
I know.
Is there a way that we can edit our code or change it to make the sign say car parking? Or have a little picture of the car?
All you have to do, your code, all you have to do is tell your city manager and we can make sure that they says golf cart
Or
parking.
something. I mean, LSEV, that's what it says at Winn-Dixie, and it's just silly.
Your code calls it a low-speed electric vehicle,
Agreed.
but there's nothing that says it has to be named that.
That the sign has to say that.
It's golf
Okay.
cart parking.
Hear that, Mr. City Manager?
I did, and so did the planner.
Let's make
They're
sure they.
working on the
Yes.
verbiage.
Yes, Mr.
Or
Mayor.
a picture of a golf cart or something along those lines, anything but LSEV, because people don't know what that acronym.
Probably we couldn't call it electric vehicle, because somebody tried to put a Tesla in there or something, so we'll have to name it
Picture of a
appropriately.
golf cart.
Yes, I saw a car in one of the golf cart parking spaces out here tonight.
Yeah.
What does it mean? No.
Mr. Mayor, if I might,
Please.
do you accept the conditions?
Yes, sir.
On
We
the
accept
record.
all the conditions and the voluntary conditions that we made on the record.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions from my colleagues on the council? Vice Mayor?
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Has any members of the commission or council engaged in any ex parte communications regarding this application?
No.
No.
Not with the applicant, except for me asking when am I gonna see a site plan for the gym over and over and over again?
That's right.
100 times probably, but
Okay.
aside from that. All right, should we, everybody's been sworn, let's open for public hearing, and do we have any comments from the public?
Here, we received no public comment cards.
But we have someone in the audience who would like to make public comment?
Please go to the podium, state your name and address.
Name is Jackie Campbell, 15938 Key Biscayne Lane, Westlake. I have a question for the developer, I think you're called. At the mentor meeting, I think it's the president, he mentioned that any business that happens, it's happening here in Westlake, that they have to make sure, they mentor, that it's reputable, and they try to ensure anyway it's reputable, and they vest them before they actually approve the is that true?
So I think what is being referred to is, as you know, Minto is very intentional with everything that they do. look at this building and how intentional they programmed every space. So I know that every person that comes to Minto to buy land is heavily vested, and Mr. Carter is very involved in reviewing every application and every plan. So, I mean, everything goes to Mr. Carter for his review, and it has to pass a very high standard before they'll even agree to sell them the land. Now, when it comes to individual tenants, those are generally, you know, if you have somebody as high quality as Publix, you come to expect the type of tenants that they would lease to. So, but that would be the limit to which things could be driven outside the boundaries of your code. But, you know, Minto is very deliberate and intentional with every decision that they make, as the mayor and manager certainly know.
Thank you. Any further public comment, Madam Clerk?
Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to make a comment? Mayor, we have no further comments.
Okay. There being no further comments, the public hearing is closed. And if we have no further discussion, may I have a motion?
Mr. Mayor, make a motion to approve MPA 2023-03, Publix at Westlake Plaza Master Plan. Amendment with the following conditions. Number one, maintain vacant parcels A, B, and C to keep a visual appearance. The subject parcels will be stabilized, seeded, mulched, regularly mowed, and receive temporary watering by way of traditional water trucks. Number two, the applicant shall revise the land development permit for Publix or submit a new land development permit for Publix phase number two. And then adding number three now tonight, any downspouts that will, that are on the building will be matched by the paint color of the building in that section.
Second.
We have a motion by Vice Mayor Langowski, seconded by Councilwoman Leonard. Roll call, Vice Mayor Langowski.
Yes.
Mayor O'Connor.
Yes.
Councilwoman Leonard.
Yes.
Councilman Werner.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0.
You.
Good luck.
We have before us P and Z application SPR 2023-05, requesting approval of site plan review for phase two of the Publix at Westlake development. City Attorney, please read by title and swear in any witnesses that wish to provide testimony.
Yes, sir. You've introduced the item, which is quasi judicial. All those individuals going to testify during the course of this particular item, please raise your right hand and be sworn. Do you solemnly swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
Yeah, I do.
Please proceed.
Presentation.
Yes, sir. Good evening again. For the record, Jose Leon, planner for the city of Westlake. Before you is SPR 2023-05 is the concurrent application along with the master plan you just approved. Subject application is a site plan amendment requesting approval for phase two of Paji South, which is approximately 20 acres and a total of 129,700 square foot of commercial development in the downtown mixed-use zoning district. Again, the application was approved, originally the master plan was approved November 9, 2020, along with the site plan for phase one in November 9, 2020 for the parcel E, which was phase one of the master plan development. The previous application, again, included 5 acres. Again, phase one is the one that has been completed, which is the Publix drive-through pharmacy. Parcel D was approved for 363 square foot for retail. Parcel C, 5,750 square feet of sit-down restaurant. Parcel B, 5,500 square foot of bank. And parcel A, 4,000 square foot of drive-through. Again, the master plan that you just approved switched the uses to parcel A to include retail, especially the tire store. Parcel B, a fast food drive-through restaurant. Parcel C is the 5,500 square foot, and then parcel D, which the subject applications for phase two, is 25,000 square foot of physical fitness, massage therapy, and spa. 6,000 square foot of inline retail, office, medical building, along with 3,024 square foot of fast food drive-through restaurant. The parcel D, which is the proposed application, includes 165 required parking spaces and is proposing 251 spaces. For the overall development, the site requires 425 parking spaces, and the overall for the total site is 606, but the proposal of the development. There are sidewalks along throughout the site, which meets the minimum 5 foot wide. The application has a requirement of 25% of minimum pervious open space, and is providing approximately 30 percentage. There are bike racks, which meet the minimum requirement of 5% of the required total, and is providing, which will be 8, and is providing 8 bike racks. And the golf cart parking is 2% of the required parking, which will be 3, and phase 2 is providing 6. Again, meets all the set zoning requirements for front, rear, side, and lot coverage. Again, the development has the access way through Town Center Parkway and Persimmon Boulevard. And this is the parcel E along with parcel D site plan, which will also includes the buffer wall to the along the western boundary. The application meets the requirements for landscaping, it's stated in Article 7, and then meets the drainage requirements, and then the traffic is for the projected application to not exceed the approval for the according with the development order. Staff does recommend approval with the following condition: the applicant shall contribute 1% of the building's construction cost of phase 2 to the city's of Westlake acquisition fund prior to building issuance, and applicant shall revise the land development permit for Publix for phase 2, or submit a new land development permit for phase 2. Thank you.
Excuse me, Mr. Mayor. For that condition, who's going to determine the cost of the construction of phase 2?
The per the ordinance of the City of Westlake Public Spaces is the building
Building
official.
The city's building official.
City's building official determines the cost.
Thank you.
Thank you, Snow. Again, for the record, Donaldson Hearing here tonight on behalf of the applicant. Nothing to add. We covered all of the site plan issues in the initial presentation. I would suggest to carry the conditions of approval that you added to the master plan over to the site plan, just so nothing gets lost. That would be good. But other than that, great project.
Any comments from my colleagues on the council?
I have a question. The condition for the arts and public places percentage, isn't that ordinance? Isn't that required?
Yes.
It's required. They just put it in the resolution so developers don't forget it or it
Okay.
doesn't get done. And in this particular case, I think it's got to be paid by building permit. So
And I agree with your comment. I was going to say the same thing, bring those other conditions.
otherwise they're going to get lost and
Yeah.
they'll get missed. Thank you very much, sir.
Mr. Vice Mayor?
Just want to, it is per the ordinance, it is a requirement, is either you pay into the fund or you provide the artwork. So in this case, the developer is choosing the payment.
Right, I understood that, but I just wasn't sure why, if it's an ordinance requirement, it's added as a condition. But
Yeah.
Mr. Hearing indicated, so they don't lose sight of it.
Right.
Madam Clerk, I'm not sure if it's possible to pull up on this presentation for this agenda item, the parking lot with Planet Fitness. I have a parking question.
Sure. Let's go back to this as soon as you. Here you go. That's.
Okay, there was a in a different presentation. There's one handicap parking here, 2 here. It seems a little off for that size and for that many people visiting, that there's only 3 handicap.
Yeah, there's a, we distribute, so in general, code requires 2% of all of your parking provided, not just required, as ADA spaces. And so we try to distribute them accordingly. There's no real magic
Okay.
there, but we do have one on the side, and that's really important because one of the things we also try to do with electrical vehicle charging stations, while there's very little guidance out there from the ADA, we make sure that we also have a charging station for at least one ADA space. And so, we try to, we see more people going in and out more frequently out of the inline. And so we just try to distribute it where they're convenient
Okay.
across the board.
Just wondering.
Yeah.
That's it for me.
Anyone else on the council?
Sir, can I ask if anybody had ex parte communication?
I have not.
Not except for asking for the site plan of the gym over and over and over. Let's open the public hearing. Do we have any comments from the public regarding this item?
Mayor, there are no public comment cards. Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to make a comment? Mayor, we have no comments.
There being no further comments, the public hearing is now closed. And if there's no further discussion, I would love nothing more than to entertain a motion.
I'll move approval of SPR 2023-05 with the two conditions recommended by staff on this application, as well as the additional conditions on the EA application that was discussed earlier.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilwoman Werner, seconded by Vice Mayor Langowski. Roll call, Mayor O'Connor.
Yes.
Councilwoman Leonard.
Yes.
Councilman Werner.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Langowski.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0.
Get it done.
We have before us second readings of ordinance 2023-07, creating a section entitled Arcade Amusement Centers and Electronic Gaming Establishments. Do we have a staff presentation?
Just wondering if I could introduce the ordinance while he's preparing.
Do we want,
Please do so.
Mr. Attorney, do we want to back up and do the presentation first before we go into the next section?
Oh, the proclamation?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Correct, I wasn't here. That's a good idea. Revert back to the proclamation declaring January 15th, 2024, Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Whereas the civil rights movement of the 1960s has profoundly impacted the course of American history and continues to shape the direction and debate of our society, and whereas one of the greatest leaders of that 20th century movement is Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., whose dream is no less than inspirational and important today than when he first expressed it more than 50 years ago. And whereas even with the gains of the civil rights movement over the years, there are many goals and needs that must be pursued to continue our commitment to achieve justice in our society, including a commitment to economic justice in the face of increasing disparity between rich and poor. And whereas, as we look forward to the future with optimism, inspired by Dr. King's legacy and informed by his wisdom and vision, let us rededicate ourselves to keeping his dream alive and be reminded that we are united together as one community. Now, therefore, on behalf of the City Council and the people of the City of Westlake, I, John Paul O'Connor, Mayor of the City of Westlake, by virtue of the authority vested in me, do hereby officially proclaim and recognize January 15th, 2024 as Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Be it further proclaimed by the City of Westlake that this proclamation is duly sealed, ribboned, and approved by the members of this council. The foregoing proclamation was sponsored by Councilwoman Charlotte Leonard, and upon unanimous consent of the council, the mayor declared the proclamation duly enacted. Good one. All right. proclaimed.
Good.
All right. Back to public hearing, section A, second reading, ordinance 2023-07, creating a section entitled Arcade Amusement Centers and Electronic Gaming Establishments. Do we have a staff presentation?
Thank you. For the record, is Neil Leon, planning for the city of Westlake. This is the second reading for ordinance number 2023-07. There has been no changes from the first reading. The board staff does recommend approval of the second reading. And again, this is the uses that will be conditional uses in the use metrics. So all the arcades and electronic gamings will come before you for approval.
Do we have any comments from the council?
I do not. Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
one item, it's kind of a Scrivener's item. It's on page 84. There's an indent on the whereas it needs to be corrected in the final version.
Okay. Noted. Other comments from my colleagues on the council?
Was there a change to the parking requirements?
There was no changes to the language of the ordinance from first reading.
Okay.
And if you like, I can go back to with the parking language. If you like.
That's okay. Take your word for it.
Okay. It's open for public hearing. Do we have any comments from the public?
Mayor, there were no public comment cards received. Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to make a comment? Mayor, we have no comments.
If there's no further comments, I will close the public hearing. And if there's no further discussion, I'd like to entertain a motion.
Can I introduce the ordinance by title only, please?
Please do so.
Ordinance by title only, an ordinance the City Council of the City of Westlake, Florida, amending Chapter 3 zoning districts and uses set forth in the city's code of ordinances, providing for the creation of a section to be determined to be entitled Arcade Amusement Centers and Electronic Gaming Establishments, providing for purpose and findings, providing for codification, providing for conflicts, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date.
Thank you. May I have a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve ordinance number 2023-07 for the amending Chapter 3 zoning districts and uses set forth for the planning and zoning of arcade amusement centers and electronic gaming establishments.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilwoman Leonard, seconded by Vice Mayor Langowski. Roll call, Councilwoman Leonard.
Yes.
Councilman Werner,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Langowski,
Yes.
Mayor O'Connor.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0.
We have before us the second reading of ordinance 2023-08, providing for a definition of a massage establishment. Do we have a staff presentation?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. For the record, I was Neil Leon, planner for the city of Westlake. For these ordinance 2023-08, we did make minor changes to the from the first reading. We made some changes to the definition. As you can see in your package, we referenced this section from the Florida statutes, as well as just minor wording. Number 2, we removed the massage therapist language. We also revised the hours of operation for the first reading discussions. Now it's from hours of 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Weekdays only or otherwise determined by the city council. We again referenced the chapter for the Florida statutes. In the section for employees, we added his or her, as well as certificate of registration, also added his or her. Section where it used to be the operator's license required, now it's called business tax receipt. And as you can see, it's according to they have to obtain a business tax receipt issued by the city clerk. And those were the changes.
Do we have any comments from the council?
Thanks for making those changes.
Thank you.
Was there anything that couldn't be addressed between first and second reading?
Everything
Did it
was
get
addressed.
fixed? Everything got fixed and
Yes.
cleaned up? Let us open for public hearing. Do we have any comments from the public?
Yep.
Mayor, receiving no public comment cards. However, we have an audience member. Please state your name and address at the podium.
Excuse me.
Podium, if you may.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. My name is Ted Sarandis. I'm a new resident to Westlake and thrilled to be here.
Welcome,
I
sir.
urge tremendous caution on this thing. I want you to jot down a name that all of you need to research. Gordon Chang, a noted expert on communist China.
Okay.
Mr. Chang has talked about the threat of communist China in our country and the fact that right here in Palm Beach County, what communist China does is they utilize massage establishments in order to acquire information from patrons to send it back to communist China. We had an incident in Jupiter, Florida, notable incident. Owner of the Patriots was arrested at the establishment. The owner of the establishment was prosecuted. When the federal government got involved, along with the state attorney, they found out a very strange nexus. The nexus was the owner of the massage establishment in Jupiter had a friendship with a woman who was arrested by the Secret Service at Mar-a-Lago for penetrating that facility. And they're very, very good friends. And that woman was arrested at Mar-a-Lago with 5 devices. She was trying to get caught because she wanted to report or tougher would be to penetrate Mar-a-Lago. So what they do to Mr. Chang and other experts is they utilize these establishments to get businessmen to provide proprietary information, which they send back to communist China. Spanking new, fresh community needs massage establishments.
Oh, thank you.
I'm sorry, Mr. Serenas, can you please state your address for the record? At the podium, please.
15780 Crestwood Place.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate your comments.
My name is Pamela Menon, 4632 Citron Way, Westlake. Not sure if I saw the other section, but if I'm reading this correctly, it's saying that you only require like a business tax receipt. Is that correct?
Don't need to be a licensed therapist. if I'm not mistaken.
The use is a conditional use, so it will have to come before city council for approval, as long as it meets a certain criteria listed on the ordinance.
It also states in section for employees that the massage establishment, how an employee full-time during hours of operation, 1 registered masseur or masseuse having in her possession registration certificate from the duly authorized state board of regulation.
So does the owner have to have a license or do they have to just have a business tax license?
They do have to have a license from the state.
Okay,
Yeah.
just wanted to make sure.
No, trust me, when we first came up with this, prior to not having any ordinance against it, we carefully looked at how to allow a legitimate masseuse, a legitimate massage therapist to be able to operate and keep out what the other gentleman referenced that does occur in lots of places where you don't have a tight system. So we tried to design the system as tight as possible to make sure that those individuals that are or do open a business here are licensed by the state and we can track them.
I'm just going to go out and say it for the record. When I initially brought this and the gaming to city manager to try to add to the agenda, that the purpose is to keep out those seedy establishments that we'd rather not have in the city. So we can't flat out say no massage therapists because the chiropractors, it's part of their, you know, in the chiropractor offices, it's part of their therapy and so on and so forth. But we can regulate the heck out of it per ordinance and therefore keep out those orchids of Asia, you know, seedy type places that those incidents do occur at. So that the purpose of this was if we didn't have an ordinance, the landowner can lease to whoever they want, and there's nothing that we can do about it. But by having the ordinance on the books, the city does have a high degree of you know, scrutiny. So this is in the spirit of what you're speaking of. Do we have any other comments from the public?
Sam Blue, 16153 Mellow Gold Drive. Two things. As far as under the operation generally, does otherwise determined cover the weekends?
So the city council has the ability to, on a case by case, allow different times. The ordinance right now,
The answer is it's only weekdays unless approved by the city council.
yes, it's 8 to 8 weekdays only or otherwise determined by city council.
Other, like one last thing, under employees, I'm not a lawyer, but nowhere in this sort of statutes do I see masseur or masseuse. So I don't know if we can revise that as well. You did update that from the first reading, so thank you on that. That's my only other comment.
What is it referred to them as? Therapists? Therapists. Can we change that now on the fly?
You can amend it, sir, but I checked the statute. I thought we were in compliance. I'm not sure where your reference is.
Page 98. Page 2 of 16.
Rather than it say masseuse or masseur, can we make it the massage
Therapist.
therapist?
You can make that amendment right now. Yes, sir.
Will my colleagues take that into consideration when they make the motion? Being said, if there is no further discussion, may I have a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I move that we accept ordinance 2023-08 massage establishment with the said corrections to employees and the operation times are correct. So, I'm gonna say, I'm sorry, let me start. I make a motion that we approve ordinance 2023-08 massage establishment with the said corrections of the word masseur and masseuse to therapist. Massage
Can I
therapist.
make a respectful suggestion
Absolutely.
that the ordinance be, with respect to section 2, or what is be employees, be revised to, if necessary, to comply with Florida statutes?
That's better.
That's better.
That's better.
I'll second that.
We have a motion by Councilwoman Leonard, seconded by Councilman Werner. Roll call. Councilman Werner.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Langowski.
Yes.
Mayor O'Connor.
Yes.
Councilwoman Leonard.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0.
Thank you. We have before us second reading of ordinance 2023-09, repealing and reconstituting the Education Advisory Board. Do we have some comments from the council?
The only comment I'll make is, it's a good transition to a new, ordinance that we're gonna have for the city in line with what other cities are doing, and it helps bolster what we're gonna do in the future, but make our Education Advisory Board better.
Working hard.
That's my hope.
Any other comments from the council?
If I might introduce the ordinance by title only, please.
Please.
Ordinance by title only, an ordinance of City Council, City of Westlake, Florida, repealing ordinance 2020-05 and 2020-10, which regulated the City Education Youth Advisory Board, and adopting a new ordinance reconstituting the board and restating the terms and conditions under which the Education Advisory Board will operate, providing for severability, codification, and effective date.
Any comments from the public?
I received no comment cards. We'll give the audience a moment to, do you have a? I'm used to the virtual audience. Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to make a comment? Mayor, we have no comments.
There being no further comments, I will close the public hearing. If there's no further discussion, we have a motion.
Make a motion to approve the second reading of ordinance 2023-09, repealing and reconstituting the Education Advisory Board.
Second.
We have a motion by Vice Mayor Langowski, seconded by Councilman Werner. Roll call, Councilman Werner.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Langowski.
Yes.
Mayor O'Connor.
Yes.
Councilwoman Leonard.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0.
And before us, second reading, ordinance 2023-10, establishing terms for the composition of the Art and Public Places Advisory Board.
Ordinance by title only, an ordinance of the City Council, City of Westlake, Florida, amending chapter 24 of the city's code of ordinances entitled Art in Public Places to create Article 24.2, Section 6A, subparagraph 5, for the purpose of establishing terms for the composition of the Art in Public Places Advisory Board, providing for codification, conflict, severability, and effective date.
Let's go ahead and open the public hearing. Do we have any comments from the public?
I received no public comment cards. Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to make a comment? Mayor, we have no comments.
Being no further comments, I will close the public hearing and ask for a motion.
I'll move approval of ordinance number 2023-10, amending chapter 24 of the city's code of ordinances entitled Art in Public Places and creating Article 24.2, Section 6A, subsection 5, for the purpose of establishing terms for the composition of the Art in Public Places Advisory Board.
I second.
We have a motion by Councilman Werner, seconded by Councilwoman Leonard. Roll call, Vice Mayor Langowski.
Yes.
Mayor O'Connor.
Yes.
Councilwoman Leonard.
Yes.
Councilman Werner.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0.
And before us, resolution 2024-01, approving and authorizing the city manager to execute an engagement letter with Berger, Toombs, Elam Gaines, and Frank. City Attorney, read by title, please.
Yes, sir. Resolution 2024-01, resolution by title only, resolution City Council, City of Westlake, Florida, approving and authorizing city manager to execute an engagement letter with Berger, Toombs, Elam Gaines, and Frank for professional audit services, providing for conflict, severability, and effective date.
Thank you. Comments from the council?
I do not.
There's no further discussion. May I have a motion?
Make a motion to approve resolution 2024-01, approving the authorizing the city manager to execute an engagement letter with Berger, Toombs, Elam, Gaines, and Frank for auditing services that will end in September 30th, 2023. That ended.
Second.
We have a motion by Vice Mayor Langowski, seconded by Councilman Werner. Roll call, Mayor O'Connor.
Yes.
Councilwoman Leonard.
Yes.
Councilman Werner.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Langowski.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0.
We have before us a memorandum of understanding for additional personnel. Mr. City Manager Ken Castle, please explain this.
Yes, you remember back during the budget, we had put extra dollars in the budget to bring in a brain dead all of a sudden. Going to go with the main contract or a separate contractor, et cetera, in looking at the advantage of putting it under the Infomark contract. It gives us additional help in the office for the clerk's offices, my office as well, as we continue to grow. So it's feasible to have it under that jurisdiction. And this is a fully burdened, fully loaded cost of operation for that individual.
So my question is, it's an annual contract. They're going to be handling all of the planning and management of the events.
Yes.
Will they have any other cross duties as well?
Yes.
What with those?
Things like document management, communications. Some of the special events that you'll be going to will be funneled through that individual as well to coordinate to make sure that your registrations, your tickets, your hotel rooms, all that kind of stuff in conjunction with the clerk's office, they'll be handling a lot of that. Clerk is still your main contact for most of those items, but this individual will be helping in getting those things accomplished.
Now, is this a 9 to 5, clock in, clock out? They're in person every day? Are they working virtually? What's?
Combination, they are a salaried individual, so they will spend whatever hours are necessary to make the job happen.
City grows, so will our personnel. Do we have any comments from the council?
Any particular background we're looking for, skills?
I have the individual. It's a individual that's been with Infomark for 19 years. We're moving them from one department to another. So they'll be joining us. They are experienced in contract negotiations and the type of individual that you can hand them the project and let them run with it and know that they'll be there and it'll happen, as well as they will be on site at every event.
Thank you.
Okay, excellent. If there's no further discussion, we have a motion.
Increase in the Infomark contract in the amount of $85,000 annually to accommodate the additional dedicated operational personnel for the city as it relates to events coordination.
I second.
We have a motion by Councilman Werner, seconded by Councilwoman Leonard. Roll call. Councilwoman Leonard.
Yes.
Councilman Werner.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Langowski.
Yes.
Mayor O'Connor.
Yes,
Motion carries 4-0.
excellent. Let's move on to council comments. Do you have anything for us? Councilman Leonard?
Well, Happy New Year. I would also like to propose a proclamation for Women's Heart Health Month, or Go Red Day, which is the first Friday in February. So if that is something that the council, recognizing heart disease amongst women, it's one of the biggest killer amongst women. And so I'd like to have us to bring that proclamation.
No issues with that proclamation?
I agree.
All right.
That's it.
It'll be read the first Tuesday of February.
Thank you.
Councilman Martinez is not here. Is he online? Okay. Councilman Werner?
Well, first of all, Happy New Year to everyone in the community, to the council. Looking forward, and as I mentioned on December 5th, looking forward to working with you. I've had a little time now to get my feet wet, and so far, I think I'm enjoying it.
Great to have you.
I think. I'll wait till July 1st.
For your re-swearing in. Mr. Vice Mayor?
I'll also say a Happy New Year to our residents of the city of Westlake and to the council. I would like to propose a proclamation for February also in honor of Black History Month.
On that? Everybody okay with that? All right, you have council approval for that proclamation. Let's see, I think all of us here embark for Tallahassee tomorrow.
Yes.
Right, we're all flying out. We're gonna
Mhm.
speak to all of our legislators on behalf of the city of Westlake and see what we can get accomplished in Tallahassee. And I just wanted to wish all my colleagues and everyone here and everyone in the city a very happy new year. And let's keep on moving forward and moving the city forward. Thank you. Report staff. Mr. City Attorney, do you have anything for us?
No, sir, other than the fact that allow me to express my best wishes for all of you for the new year and reaffirm and restate my commitment and our law firm's commitment to the city of Westlake.
Thank you. Mr. City Manager.
I believe we need to pick up PBSO and the fire department are both here.
Yep. You have nothing for us?
I do, after
You
them.
want to go to them first? Sure. All right. Let's Let's go with fire department first. Good evening.
Happy New Year, everybody. Congratulations, Councilman.
Thank you.
The response times were really good last month, month of December. There was, our reports have changed because they were concerned with possible HIPAA violations. So we're no longer distributing the reports ahead of time. And those are under review. So now I'm just going to give you the response time and the number of calls, number of responses. So you had 29 medical calls, 16 alarms, 3 assists or investigations, 1 vehicle accident, 1 fire, and 1 interfacility transport from the Westlake ER to a hospital that can admit. The dispatch handling time was 40 seconds. The overall turnout times from when the tones go off to them getting en route is 39 seconds. Total travel time, average travel time, 4 minutes and 36 seconds with average response times of 5 minutes and 55 seconds. That's really
great.
pretty good.
Down, okay.
Any questions?
I do have a question. So at the last meeting, sadly, you weren't able to come. Within the report, there was some kind of chemical spill or hazardous material spill. And I had asked if you could get the information back to the council on what exactly that event entailed.
Okay, so that was, I believe, Battalion Chief Goodman attended
Correct.
because I had a conflict.
I didn't receive anything.
Okay, I will follow up.
I would still love to know what kind of hazardous materials, whatever that was.
And that must have been in sometime in November then, right?
Yep.
I
Or-
will get that information. I'll email
December.
it to you.
You report a month
No.
behind.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It was November.
Right.
Sometime in
It had to be
November.
November.
Okay, I will search it and I'll email you
Awesome.
the details.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you for all you
Any
do.
questions? Thank you for having me.
EBSO.
Good evening, Lieutenant Sowers with Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office. Let's see, business and residential checks. We had about 2,076 of those. And there were 102 traffic stops with 103 written warnings, 30 verbal warnings, and 39 citations. And we had 144 calls for service, which do not include the business and residential checks. And typically, the month of December across the boards is very, very busy because of the holidays and the thefts and different types of fraud that's happening. But I'm pleased to say Westlake has defied the odds. You guys had 2 major incidents to report. One was a burglary of a construction site where a window was stolen, and another one was an unlocked vehicle where some items were stolen. So whatever the citizens of Westlake are doing, keep it up. Good job, everybody. And hopefully we'll continue on that trend, but everything's, month of December was great.
Having a PBSO deputy every 3 houses. I think it's a great thing. Thank you so much, Lieutenant. You're up, Mr. City Manager.
Mr. Mayor, first thing I'd like to continue some direction with the passage of the school board redoing advisory. Pretty much everybody on there doesn't fit the qualifications, so we do need to re-advertise, et cetera. So the clerk will be doing that.
Great.
And going out and advertising for the positions to bring them back for you as soon as possible.
Fantastic.
Regarding businesses and things, I know you've talked to a number of individuals. I've talked to a number of restaurant type things, for example, Great Greek Restaurant. Talked to their general manager of the region saying, hey, find a space out here. I put them in touch with people like Publix, with Conover Group and stuff like that. So other restaurants that I see that are kind of a combination of a different kind of flavor, different kind of feel. My function is I put them in contact with those that I know are the leasing companies for these various entities to see if they can come up with an idea if they want to locate out here. And the Snow Improvement District today did bring on the grant writer onto their board.
Oh, excellent.
So they will be reaching out for grants. And that's the same grant writer that we'll be utilizing for us as we come on board as well.
Excellent. How's the progress on the new offices for Sid and?
We're waiting for the steel building to come in. As of yet, they were hoping first quarter. It's probably going to be March before it gets here.
Is the land all prepped and ready to?
Site is ready to rock and roll. They've got to, as soon as they get the final steel construction drawings in, they'll go in for the award for the contractor to do the footing and then the steel erection.
So we had an unusually low amount of COs I believe it was last week. I think it was the
Yeah.
lowest I've ever seen. Can you shed some light on that?
Yeah, they wrapped up for the end of the year.
So there was, building department wasn't here to issue them, basically.
Well, they were here, but they hadn't wrapped up. They tried to wrap up October, November and the first part of December. And then towards the last week or two of the month, the last one or two, they get finished off, but they don't push. Then the rest of them, they realize.
Probably an unusual high number this week.
I'll check. I don't think so.
Okay.
But I think we should probably be back up to the 7 to 10.
Right. Excellent. Any questions from the council for Mr. Castle?
Mr. City Manager, is there a position for a person to go out and solicit businesses for the city? Is there a person other than the mayor and yourself? Is that a role that a city usually?
If business development in a lot of cities, yes, because they're trying to refill. The unique position that we have is we can't make any commitments. We don't have any space. We don't have any other than contacts. So therefore, we reach out to different individuals or businesses. Most of the businesses that would be interested in locating out here are already on the radar with Minto, Mr. Carter and them. But also one of the things that a number of businesses only want to buy 1 acre or they don't want a whole facility. One of the statements that Mr. Carter made in the meeting prior is, yes, he could sell off an acre here or there, but it would counterproductive to the vision of the city to have a continuity. So he's making sure that he groups it with people like Conover or like Publix or like other operations like that so that you get a high quality and they continue to vet and bring in the right kind of people.
Excellent.
That's all I have.
All right. Let's open up for public comments.
I have no public comments. Is there anyone in the audience? We have some takers.
Ms. Campbell, I'll recognize you first. I saw your hand go up first, so.
Please state your name
State
and
your name
address.
and address for the record again. Happy New Year to you.
Yeah, I have two provocative.
Just name and address for the record.
Okay, sorry. Jackie Campbell, 15938 Key Biscayne Lane. Two small things.
And please speak into the microphone.
Oh, for the fire department. I live in Crestwood and we have a lot of elderly people there, including me. I might not look it, but I'm elderly. So, yeah, so we have, our ceilings are very high. And we cannot change our smoke detectors. And you do have a lot of single women, elderly, who live there. I approached the fire department over here a couple months ago, and the chief took my number and said he would call me, and I haven't heard anything from him. I'm thinking that is something that the fire department, at least maybe once a year, could do as a service to Crestwood, since it's an elderly community, for the people who live there. In New York, I used to run a community group, and the fire department would come out every year and assist us who would come to the meeting, and it's too big for them to do everybody, but who was at meeting, they would come and assist with smoke detectors and things like that. So I'm asking if something like that is possible here.
I'm not sure if the fire department offers that service, but I will certainly give you a moment to let us know.
Something we can certainly look into. It's not something that we regularly. It's something that we could look into or brainstorm. We have our Community Risk Reduction Division. That would fall under their division. It's a Bureau of Safety Services. However, it's not something that we regularly do. If there is a call where the smoke alarm is going off because you've got to change the batteries twice a year to keep it going and keep it fresh. And they arrive on scene and they do have a ladder. The rescues don't carry ladders that could reach that, but if an engine company comes out, they may be able to assist with doing that. However, to schedule an annual service like that would be labor intensive.
That for one person, just see. That's okay.
Yeah. You have to understand, if we do for one community, we would have to offer it to everybody.
In the county.
So I think it's better if we approach it on a case-by-case basis. If there is somebody who is having a difficulty, first of all, I apologize. I don't know who you spoke to at Station 22 that did not get back with you.
That's the Randers 15,780 stuff in place. I'd like to propose a resolution for the council to undertake a new ordinance establishing a four-way stop sign at a very, very busy intersection Pine Center Drive, West Main Place. That's the lieutenant from PBSO here, and I'd love, I know you guys have limited resources, I'd love to see PBSO speed trap maybe out on Town Center, because when I come to that stop sign, the other complex is across the street is Rockland. What's the other complex across the and traffic coming from the roadway is wow, they are really moving. And I'm thinking when I come in from Seminole Pratt, from the south to the north, with the right on Persimmon, this intersection I come is a four-way stop, and there are no developments at that four-way stop. Stop, but we need
four-way stop intersection, town center, Preston Place. So the folks leaving complex across the street, folks leaving Preston Place, don't have to fight their way out during the commuter periods. And frankly, folks are leaving really, really fast on that road. So I really would like to propose a resolution, an ordinance. Hope you'll undertake it. Ask the appropriate folks, the attorney, the city manager, the clerk to put that language together. But that's something that's really important. And Mr. Mayor, I also want to propose one other item. A lot of interest in Westlake. People from out of town who want to move here, going to the city website. I would ask you and the city manager, the council, you need to have an item on the website with the history of the city. I've done some research. This is still the newest city in all of Florida. The exciting place to be. It's new, it's clean, it's fresh, a great entryway on Seminole Pratt Whitney. So you folks should come up with a nice history. Talk about Minto. I guess it was their idea to come up with the name and all of that stuff because people want to know what's the story with Westlake. And you go to the website and of course it has all the administrative stuff, but we really need a history of the city of Westlake on the website so folks moving here can go and find out how it all started. Thank you. Correct. It still has to be noted by the traffic study and installation. I'm sure the tank will turn up the heat on the roadway. I will speak to the board of some of the businesses that they have to cover the road, but we're looking to it. Yes, yes, that would be in the 60 to 90 days. River Dam will be complete and the south side to finish. So that will also alleviate traffic to be able to go into the south and go out the similar there. So anybody coming out of the Orchard can go instead of having to go to the north to go out, because they can go out right now. They can go out the east entrance, stop on the south, and down in the Phoenix and put them in the north. So that interconnection between north and south should be a also, this is going south, with that connected, dropping down there, it's out in the turning the thing. The other day, that's a big thing. Thanks. No, I'm not diverting it. I'm just saying it's going to be open so that people have me ask. That's now you have orchards. That is the results. Me, I'm told we definitely will start the traffic again to the next.
And also on some of the improvements, that they drive traffic counts and the units. No traffic studies, against the traffic. Things to that.
Making up for the, I'm making up for the last one.
That is public comments. No further.